Welcome to Fit and Pain-Free the Bonnie Pruden Way. I'm Enid Whitaker, and I'm joined by Sandy Dirks. Our program each month will center around fitness pioneer Bonnie Pruden and her accomplishments, her method of exercise, and pain erasure the Bonnie Pruden Way, or Bonnie Pruden myotherapy, which is a way to get rid of muscle-related pain. Join us as we begin each meeting with a few tension-relieving exercises.
In 2007, in a celebration, Bonnie was awarded the President's Council Lifetime Achievement Award. And the award, according to the council, is given to individuals whose career contributed to the advancement or promotion of physical activity, fitness, or sports nationwide. Winners are chosen by the members of the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports based on the span and scope of an individual's career, the estimated number of lives the individual has touched through his or her work, the legacy of the individual's work, and additional awards or honors received over the course of his or her career. Most of the millions of whose lives Bonnie has changed have never met her personally, but rather through her many books, records, and her hundreds of TV, radio appearances, and magazine articles. But others, like Sandy and me, were lucky enough to know Bonnie personally. If you know Bonnie personally and would like to tell us your Bonnie story, you can reach us at paineras@AOL.com. Hi, Kellys. Tell us who you are and tell us your Bonnie story.
Mom and Dad, you go first.
Hi, everybody. This is Pat. I'm the mother of the clan. And next to me is Bill, and then Trisha. Sean's on the bottom left, David, and Greg. Back in the 70s, we owned a health club. And one weekend, I went to a workshop that Bonnie Pruden was doing. I loved her. I loved what she did. I loved her philosophy. And that summer, there was a workshop. And so we decided we'd take the kids to it and see how they would do with the fitness at the workshop. Growing up, they did karate and dance and the swim team. They did all kinds of sports. So they were pretty fit. But our problem was our youngest one was 3 years old. And you had to be 5 to come to the workshop. So we snuck him in. And everybody just loved him. And at that time, he had real curly hair. And you'll see pictures as we go along on the screen. And he got along with everybody. And it was just a fantastic workshop. So a couple of years after that, we continued to go. We did routines at the workshop. So one year we did Smurfs. So we were all dressed in Smurf costumes and we did a routine to music. And then another year we had Perot clown outfits on and we did a clown number. And some of it was done in black light, which was really neat. So we just really loved Bonnie's workshops. And she just taught us so much. She taught us how to do massage to music. She taught us how to work with the elderly with pieces of equipment. I then went to a nursing home and started teaching people Bonnie's program with the music and the different pieces of equipment. And we would start with the hug and finish with the hug. And the seniors just really loved the program. And it was just such a joy to see how much younger they looked and how much they looked forward to me coming and doing this with them every week, because sometimes they didn't have anybody. So I started doing that at the workshop. and we brought Bonnie's warm-up stuff into our health club, and everybody enjoyed Bonnie's stuff. So she's a part of all of our lives. And now I'm going to have Bill talk.
Hi, this is Bill. I'm the other half. When we met Bonnie and Enid, we were just amazed by how they worked together and what their program was like for fitness and for healing people. The energy level was amazing. And then we met Lori and Diane, Sandy, of course, John and Bob, excuse me, and a lot of other people. Every time we met, there were new people there to meet, and it was always just so amazing. Bonnie wanted everyone to feel comfortable, and Enid, and they would learn who you were and what you did. And the one year, they asked me to create masks with one of the groups of people. It was a great experience. Since I was an art teacher, we made Paris craft masks, and they had partners, and they made them over their faces. And I'm sending Enid a picture of some of the masks. One of them is Trish, and one is David, I think. And
I have masks up here.
What's that?
I have some masks up here.
Oh, great.
Could you show one, Trish?
Sure.
If I can take it down without knocking.
Oh, I saw it. We could see it in your image. I made those masks. They're generic. They're not any one particular face. That's what they look like.
Yeah.
Thanks, Trish. And we've just had such fantastic times with them. And we miss Bonnie a great deal, and we always remember. And I took her program into my schools where I taught, and I did phys ed classes with the kids and used the Bonnie and Beanie program. And it just always went over so well. It actually gave me a full-time job at the Crystal Cathedral where I taught here in California. And everybody just loved it, and the kids loved the program. It was always just an amazing part of what I did as the art teacher there. So that's about it for me. We love you, and we miss Bonnie, and we are so happy that you are continuing with this and making this video, and we're anxious to share what other people will say too.
Bill is also an art teacher, and at the workshop, Bonnie also had people do self-portraits of themselves, drawings, and it was interesting to see how they looked to themselves when they did their drawings. We had one person who was going through a divorce, and her face was so sad on the picture, and that's how she saw herself. But Bonnie just got into the whole person and wanted to teach the whole person to everybody, and you never knew what she was going to do next. Okay, who's next? David?
Yeah, I'll go next. So when I was growing up, I had really bad growing pains. I would lay in bed at night and I would actually punch my calves because it hurt so bad that punching my calves made my legs feel better. And I remember Bonnie pulled me up on stage one of the first times we had gone to a workshop, and she did myotherapy on my legs, and we continued to do myotherapy on my legs after that, and I never had those growing pains again. And then I also remember my favorite thing about going to the 5-day workshops was the floor exercises. Bonnie would split the group, which was a lot of people, into 4 corners of a gymnasium, and she would have each person do an exercise and go across the floors. And that was one of my favorite memories of going there. So that's it for me.
Tricia?
I have some personal notes from Bonnie, and I made some notes about some stories. I have one here with one of her drawings on it, as you can see. So at this time, when she wrote this letter, she was exercising. She was going in the pool every day. And I believe this drawing is her getting out of the pool and her swimsuit falling off. And she talked about, I'm going to find it here. exercising with the Bonnie Pruden exercises, and Beanie's done it daily with her for 6 weeks, and Beanie really knows her stuff, is what she wrote. Because this was a time when she was getting better from something that an injury or something that had happened. So you were exercising her all the time, and she just loved talking about.
What is there a date on that?
There's no date on this one. I have dates on other ones, but this one has no date.
Do you have a sense of when it was?
This would have been, I don't know if you would remember, she had said that her 13 years writer block is gone. So I don't know what year that would have been. And she was swimming in the pool daily, and you were exercising her and doing the myotherapy on her. And so I've just always saved this letter. And it was when I sent her some ceramic pots. I don't know what year that would have been. Yeah. And she always dates her letters, but this one doesn't have it. But I just love the picture, the drawing. And then I don't know if you could tell the little surprised face of the person here. I just love that drawing. And then I just wrote down some words that I think remind me a lot of her. So I have rhythm and balance, confidence and strength, determination and perseverance, fitness is fun, kindness, laughter, and love, pain-free and positive, and grace, posture, and poise. And those are things that those things all resonate with me. And then I have 2 favorite quotes from her, which is, you can't turn back the clock, but you can wind it up again. And it is pain that ages us, not years. I love both of those quotes from her. From the workshops, I remember, does anybody remember the old t-shirt with the circles on it, that she would do a lecture and hold up the old shirt and say that the woman had the doctor do the circles, and then they would hit those spots.
Yeah.
So I always remembered that old shirt, and I wondered if you guys still have it somewhere in your collection.
Well, those are Mara's underpants, I think.
Oh, was it underpants?
Yeah.
I thought it was a shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mara's underpants, and after the flood that took everything out of the house, I gifted all of Bonnie's archives to the Stark Center, which is connected with the University of Austin in Texas.
Oh, nice.
So they're very happy with not only the volume, but the scope of everything. It's sports, physical culture, and alternative medicine. So it's a perfect fit. And I'm happy they're there and they'll be taken care of. And
yeah, that's awesome. That's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I always remember that story and her holding them up and with the circles of where to push for the myotherapy from the doctor. I love that. Another memory is from when the Teenage Fitness book, when we did the book, there was a swimming part that had to be done for the book, and the pool had not been opened officially yet. It was very cold, and there were frogs in the pool, and nobody wanted to go in. No one wanted to go in the pool for the book, but I volunteered, and I went swimming with the frogs, and it was freezing cold, and it was better than anything. And I still do that now to wake up. It's better than caffeine. Take a cold plunge. And I learned at a young age. That was a great way to get moving. And then I don't know if there's anything else. Just another one that I have from this book, which I don't know, did you guys, this one?
Yeah.
You didn't officially publish it.
We didn't publish it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you published it, but I have a note from her in here as well.
The red book.
That I'll just read quick. It seems like I have watched you from your very beginning, and I have loved every minute of your life that you've shared with me. You have talents as yet untouched. Think about them sometimes as you grow. in the meantime, just be beautiful and happy. Love, Bonnie. And this was from 2006. Yeah. So that's good.
I have one thing about Trisha.
Yes.
When you went and got your hair cut.
Yes.
Okay. So Trisha went and got her hair cut right before workshop. So she calls me up and she says, don't have Dad pick me up. You have to come and get me. And we had a Trans Am at the time. And I went and picked up Trisha and she came home with a mohawk. And we were going to workshop the next week. And Trisha would lead floor progressions. She would lead one of them at her young age. Bonnie would have her lead one of them because of her dance experience and her fitness and everything. And I said to Bonnie, I was so embarrassed. I said, Bonnie, you're not going to believe it. Wait till you see Trisha. She said, she is fine. It's just growing up. But she came home with this mohawk. And I was just ready to kill her because we were going to workshop the next week. And I drove home on side street 75 miles an hour in this Trans Am. I was not a happy camper.
Her mother was so upset, and I thought it was funny.
And I
She
wish
looks
I
cute.
still had a mohawk.
Bonnie didn't care who you were, what color your hair was. She welcomed everybody as
Yeah.
a family.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
John?
So that's it for me. So Sean, I think you're next.
We're going in chronological order here.
I guess we are, yes.
Beanie and Sandy, it is so cool to see you both. You both look great. And thank you for putting this on and doing this. And, you brought us all together too tonight, and it's a cool thing. I remember the summer workshops and going to them. That was, in a big way, that was like, I would say our summer vacations were to go to the
Yes.
workshops. And we would go, and Trish would always leave with a scholarship, and I'd always leave with a girl. I still to this day do myotherapy on myself. I have the I guess you'd call it a shepherd's crook. I don't remember what the terminology was for that in the Bonnie nomenclature, but I still find a great amount of relief in sore muscles from doing that for sure. I remember learning how to do myotherapy on my brothers and sisters, and the joy of sticking my elbow in my older brother's back. Yeah, and then I would just say Bonnie's character was such. I mean, I don't know how many people used to go to those workshops. I was young, and sometimes when you're young, things seem bigger than they were or whatnot. But I would say 100 people, maybe. I don't know. It felt like a lot of people there, and no matter how many people were there, I always got some of Bonnie's time. She always found a moment to say something nice, something positive, something like, along the lines of the things Trish there was sharing. Yeah, you always felt heard, you always felt special, and regardless of how big the crowd was, so to speak, for sure. Yeah, I think that's about it for me.
Yeah. So Greg, do you have anything you'd like to share?
All right. So being the youngest and on the lighter side, because of Bonnie Pruden's stuff, I know what a cadaver smells like. I have seen a human body being opened so that I could learn where the muscles were. And while I wasn't technically supposed to be in the room, I was. And I believe my dad put me on his shoulders so I could get a better view. So we want to pay respect to the body that we dissected. But as a little kid, understanding how muscles work via a body on a slab, that's something that sticks with you. The other thing is that we are the reason why laundry carts should not be used by any hotel. We use them as derby bumper cars, and I believe we were exiled to our rooms for the rest of that conference. We uh,
Wasn't that the
I
year you guys were supposed to watch over Bonnie's grandson?
I don't remember that.
the child may or may not have been in a cart. They put the smallest ones in the carts because we were easier to push, and then they would charge us head first at each other to see how big of a crash they could make. And I happened to be in the cart. I may
You
or
were a
may not
little
have
one.
needed myotherapy after those rides, but those were very fun experiences in the hotel. And you never knew what was going to happen at one of Bonnie's workshops. The 1 year a boob flopped out. There was a floor exercise. Person was performing. They were very energized. If you're out there watching, I saw your boob, and it had to be picked up and put back into the, and it was like that was Bonnie's conferences for me. There was always something zany. She'd always make a point of having us come out and do something funky that would make all the older people watching go, "Oh my gosh!" And it would be like a running jump, dive into a somersault, or just touch your toes. And we would do it with our heads between our ankles, kind of thing. Like we were extremely flexible, and she was always like showing us off to some degree to older people, explaining how if they continue to work with their own flexibility, they'd be able to touch their toes. And as I tie my shoes, I still remember that like it's a blessing to be able to do that.
And don't we all?
Correct. Like I get it now. Back then I was like, you guys can't do running dive jumps. What is going on? But I get it now. But yeah, the Bonnie experience was always what are we having for breakfast? It was very like it was a fun and interesting way to grow up. And we learned
Hey, Greg,
a lot.
do you remember the cardboard box that was Toto?
I don't. Yes, we're gonna go there. Apparently, I was infatuated with a cardboard box that was a fake dog in a play.
That was when you did the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Diane was the Wizard of Oz, and she had a little cardboard box dog called Toto. Greg was 3, and he loved Toto. And at the end of workshop, he was able to take it home with him. But during workshop, he carried this cardboard box around all over the place. And it was the performance that Diane did with a group of people, and she was Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz. And on Greg's, you're going to see a picture of him as Kermit the Frog. And the person with him, his name was Bob. And how tall was Bob? About 6'2", 6'4".
He was tall, yeah.
To me, he was 8'5". To me, he was 8 foot.
And Greg said at 3, he seemed like he was 8 foot. And he is Miss Piggy in the picture. So Greg was Kermit, and we got this pink gown from a Goodwill store and brought it with us, and Bob wore it, and Bill made the head for both of them, and she was Miss Piggy. And it was the end of workshop. We'd do it like on a Saturday night, guys. The end of workshop, the staff would perform, and then we would do our different routines that we brought with us to entertain everybody. And the workshops were great. She also taught us how to do massage to music. And so we would come home, and I'm from 9 brothers and sisters, so we would come home and teach everybody how to do massage to music. And everything, all the exercises we always did with famous old-time musicians or new people coming on, but it made it so much fun doing everything with music.
Are we all okay if I finish with a message from Bonnie and Enid?
Yes.
It's in this book. It's the Teenage Fitness book. Thank you to the Bill and Pat Kelly family. You have joyfully supported the Bonnie Blue family throughout many, many years. Bonnie Blue Hug and Enid Winokur. Thanks so much. And this was great to be together and have this video.
There was one other thing I wanted to say. I don't know what year it was, but they had a special celebration for one of Bonnie's birthdays. And she lived in Massachusetts for a long time. And they decided it was getting too cold. They wanted to move back out to a warmer climate. And she wrote many letters to me also. And she wrote me a letter, and we lived in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and moved to California. And Diane, that's on one of the blogs, she also moved to California. So when we moved, Diane was already out here. And then a couple years later, Enid and Bonnie came out and moved to Tucson. But Bonnie wrote me a letter, and she said, if the Kellys can do it, I can do it. It's all going to be good. But she said she had her strength from us doing it for her to go and move across country. And she was so excited to see us that day. We were her surprise. She didn't know we were coming to the party. So we were in California, and we flew to Tucson for her party, just the two of us. And she was just so excited when we walked in the door. But we loved her, and she was such a neat lady. Can I tell her the candy story? Can I tell the candy story?
Well, you can tell it.
So Bonnie loved my candy. My mom made homemade candy, and it's called buttercream and coconut cream. And Bonnie loved them, and I'd send them to her like twice a year. Sometimes when I talked to her on the phone, she'd say, that candy is just so good, and then I'd send her out some candy. Well, when she was passing away, I get a call that Bonnie's not going to make it. So I called Enid, and I said, oh, Enid, should I make her some candy? And she said, Pat, she's not eating anything. So I said, okay. I just thought, well, I'll make her some candy because I know she likes it. I get called an hour later. It's Enid. She wants your candy. So that night, I made her candy. We overnighted it to her, and she had it like 2 days before she passed. And Enid said to her, it's Pat's candy, and she had a big smile on her face. So it was so funny because she wanted my candy when she was dying. She was such a wonderful woman. Boys, guys, do you want to say anything, Trish?
Candy.
Anybody?
Bonnie was funny up until the last minute she took a breath.
Yeah. She had a great sense of humor, great laugh.
Yeah.
Thank
Always
you.
positive.
Thanks, Enid. Thanks, Sandy, for putting
Yeah,
this
thank you.
together. It's wonderful to be alive and on this. Thanks a lot.
We're happy to have you.
Great.
Take care, everybody.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you. That was great. Thanks.
One of the problems in this country that we think we've got a lot of exercise, and we've got a lot of exercise, but a lot of it is bad. And some of the things are so bad that you're going to pay for it later if you even try. This business of going for the burn, don't even touch that. A warm-up is what you're seeing here, which is free movement with the idea of getting the heart to beat a little stronger, to get the blood flowing better and into the muscles so that the muscles are warm. Now, if you have a muscle that is warm, it's 20% more efficient, 20% safer, and 20% feeling better than a cold muscle. Besides which, if you have a cold muscle, you have a tense muscle, and then you tear it. Now, you notice that they're not doing anything that's really going to tear anything. When you do this, really reach across. And you can change it just by going in back. Put on your favorite music, though. Now, this is that hip twist. If you want to get rid of too much hip, this is the exercise, but also for older people, this will keep you young, keep your gait young. Have you ever noticed how old people walk with very short steps and they kind of look a little bit scared? That attracts mothers, incidentally. But if you walk well with a good stride, have good hip muscles, then you give people a feeling that you're sure of yourself and you're not nearly as much a target. Now the waistline, look right around when you do this. Look right around to the back of the room, and that keeps your neck loose. Now this is a wonderful exercise. Really swat it. It's just another way of working on your waist. After you're warm, you come to the stretch. By the way, when you do stretch with myotherapy, you don't have to do any warm-up because myotherapy is a warm-up. It makes the muscles warm, increases the circulation. And when you do this, look down and see that your knee covers your toe, because if you're doing it with your knee leaning in, that's not good for your foot. All right, now let's assume that you have an exercise class. You would start with 5 minutes of warm-up, which does not push anybody very far, but puts everything through full range of motion. Then that's 10 minutes. Then the next 10 minutes might be down on the floor doing hard exercises, sit-ups and things of this kind. And you really do it to music, it's much more fun. Then we go for, I hate to say the word, aerobics, because it has such bad connotations. We call it endurance. What it does is it makes the heart beat faster, and it gives you a lot more strength eventually, and it gives you more lung power. Now you're hot, you're sweating, your muscles are ready for stretch. So then you can do your stretch safely. This is called passive stretch. Nothing passive about it except that somebody's doing the pushing. And that means that you don't have to push. If you have to think, pull myself down and let go, you're apt to forget the let go, and then you work against yourself. And always with a gentle bounce. This is ballistic stretch. And that way you don't set up one muscle against the other. This way no muscle finds a way to do that. And if you want to see the difference, you go to a dance school and see that they can spread like that and put their chest straight out on the floor. And if you look at the static stretch, which is usually used with phys ed, they have no flexibility at all. Now here, you must always remember to do the chest because your posture depends on a flexible pectoral muscles and shoulder girdle. And if you're walking around like this, you look terribly inadequate. And then you stretch the legs, you get the crotch particularly so you have a good long stride. You know, as you get older, it isn't age that does something to you. It's sitting in the classroom, sitting in the car, sitting in the bus, sitting in the movies, and gradually these muscles get short. So when you get older, instead of taking one big step, you have a habit, you make two small steps, you know, and then you look in the mirror or in the street as you go by, and here comes this person, you say, who's that? Can't believe that that has happened to you, but it has. And it did it so slowly, you didn't even notice it. Watch the face on the person you're working with, and if they begin to look like they're tight, you don't go as hard. Now this is a stretch for the front of the groin, which is one of the big problems with athletes. They never get this stretch, and therefore, when they get hurt and this pulls, you've seen people pull up lame with a groin muscle spasm, and then they don't know what to do with it after that. All heels should be able to touch seats. And if they can't, then you have to look in the front of the leg to see where you're going to find some tightness. Now this is again the chest stretch, and you'll find a lot of people who can't even lift their hands 2 inches off of the floor. And everybody's different, by the way. So get all the joints of your body really worked out for full range of motion, and let somebody else do all the work. Notice how this little boy can come all the way down, and they go all the way down to the floor. Everybody could do that, but you get down on the floor and see if you can do it. I doubt it, but you could get there. There's no reason why not. And you allowed this. When you were little, you could do it too. It's up to you to keep yourself stretched, but you do it after you are sweating, when your muscles are really pliable, and then you will have a marvelous time and a marvelous body, and you'll be very proud of yourself.
And as Bonnie says, keep fit, be happy.